Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us to our Synergy Homeopathic Open Forum session. This is, I think, the second of hopefully many sessions to come. Lucy and I will be hosting this session like last time. I want to remind everyone that this is not a formal training. This is an open forum, open question and answer session where you are welcome to post your questions about the Synergy Homeopathic software, how to do various things, and either Lucy or I will answer those questions. So there is a question that's really about tech support to start off the session. And I want to let this person know the message that you have that your config file and HASP does not match usually comes up if your HASP ended up being locked to this software or to Macreportry reference works if you are using the same HASP for all three programs. You should go on the Synergy Homeopathic website under support and raise a tech support ticket, and they will be able to help you. Somebody should get back to you in 48 hours and set up an appointment and get that unlocked. Lucy, are you ready to start?
I am. I will open up my program. All right, can everybody see my screen that has the program on it?
Yeah, I can see it. So yeah.
All right. All right.
Okay. I had a couple questions come up, Lucy, which were, how do we export a list of rubrics from the clipboard to an external document? So if you could
copy and paste
copy and paste it.
Okay, sure.
And then is there any way to also do the same for the graph? Or is there any way to create a PDF for the graph, or is the only way to screenshot it?
Okay. Screenshotting currently is probably the best way to copy the graph. So there's a print function, but if you want to actually take it onto a document, the best option is to screenshot. And I'll show you that right now. I've opened a clipboard by clicking on the clipboard icon. I'm in the repertory module, reliable, and I'm just going to throw a few rubrics onto that clipboard that I opened. Let's get a few rubrics on it. All right, and so here we are. I've opened up a clipboard with some rubrics. I'm going to open up a Word document. That's what I would copy paste my rubrics onto. Some other people I know use maybe notes or something else, maybe a Google document, but I would open up a Word document. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and so here we are, we've got both. So you get into your clipboard and you can use keyboard commands is the easiest way. So Command A, it highlights all the rubrics. If you're on a Windows computer, you use Control A. Then you copy, which on the keyboard commands is Command or Control C. All right, and then you go over to your document and you hit Command or Control V. And there they are. Now, in order to copy the graph as well, I will make a screenshot. On a Mac computer, a screenshot is Command-Shift-4. I'm not sure what it is on a Windows computer. Does anybody know what that is to do a screenshot on Windows? But I've done the command for the screenshot. All right, taken the screenshot of the graph. And now I'm going to come over to my Word document, and you have to insert the photo. All right, you find your screenshot, and I guess it's different places on different computers. Mine always ends up in the recents. Here it is right here. I'm going to insert it, and there it is. So that is how you can put graph and clipboard information onto a document outside of the program currently. Did I answer the question?
I think so. David actually wrote in chat. So in Windows, doing a screenshot is the window key, Shift, and S altogether.
Thanks for that, because I actually didn't know that.
Okay. Somebody's asking if we can go a little bit slower.
This
And
will be recorded also and on the YouTube playlist that we have. So we will try to go as slowly as possible, but you can also watch it again. I'll have it up on YouTube probably early next week.
okay, so next question. How can we find a list of the remedies in a particular plant family?
Okay, so do you mean on a clipboard, on a graph?
No, I think, if we just go to the repertorization, the references option,
Okay.
switch to remedies, and then here filter for the family that you need, and it will just show the remedies on the left. So
Okay.
if you can show that.
Right, I will. And so here we are, we're in the repertory module. You see it's the open book.
No, you mean the references.
References library, sorry.
Yeah.
It's the open book icon. And you can see up here, remedies is selected. And then up here in the in the global search window.
Lucy.
Yes.
Actually, no. See the 3-book icon and the filter function right next to it?
I'm sorry about that. I think you can do it in global search too, but I will use that.
Oh, I didn't, yeah. I think
Okay.
just to display the list of remedies on the left, all the remedies in a particular family.
Okay. So with
Yeah.
this filter here, next to, it's within the reference library in the left pane here. You can see where I opened that. It's this icon. Any icon that looks like this is a filter. And you can go to kingdom. If you want the plant kingdom, then you would stay here and not choose remedy or section. And you can type in the type to search. I think you have to choose a particular kingdom. So let's say you want Magnolidae. Polly, this is not.
Yes. Okay, wait. Yeah. So just go to A to Z at the bottom.
Okay.
That's easier if you know exactly the plant family that you're looking for, and then type, yeah, and then choose here Magnoliaceae, choose, yeah,
And hit
apply, yeah. And you'll see the 4 remedies that we have in Magnoliaceae. And you can do that for any grouping, subgrouping, or family.
You remove that by clicking on the red icon. Kingdom, I'm going to do it again. So I clicked on this filter icon. Here we are in kingdom. I'm not searching for remedies. If I was looking for just particular remedies, I'd click here. If I was looking for particular sections, I would click here, but we're looking for kingdoms. So again, you want to come down to A to Z. That's probably the easiest way. And I'm going to go ahead and type plant and see. And so plant miscellaneous came up. So if you want to look at all the plants, you can choose a variety of things. Actually, I'm going to choose both of those and hit apply. And now you're looking at only the plant remedies here. And you can see again that the filter is placed because of this red icon that appeared. Okay, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Next question is, once one has done a global search, in this case, somebody did a global search for food allergy, when all the search results come up and I hover on one sentence, I do not know how to see where it comes from or how to go into it more deeply.
Okay. So was the search just plain food allergy like this? So I'm going to activate the search. Once you've typed in your search in global search, you activate a search by either hitting the return key or the enter key if you're on Windows on your keyboard, or you can come over here and click on the search icon. Now, if you have another search that you've done beforehand, I recommend that instead of clicking on the search icon again, you open up a new tab by clicking on the plus sign. But we don't have a search going yet, so I'll go ahead and click on the search icon. And the results come up. The repertory tab is always the first one to show, but I think what your question was referring to was the result in the reference library. Am I right there?
Yeah.
So
And
each
then how do we go from
yeah,
here?
so every single line here represents one of the 262 references that are a result of this search. And so I've hovered on one of the lines, whichever line you want. Let's say that you look down your list, the remedies are over here on the far left, the section and the book it came from. And let's say that you've hovered on this line for, just we can pick one, antimonium crudum in this Murphy's here. You see that there's the little pop-up, but I want more. So I'm going to double click on that line. Double click on the line. And now we've gone out of global search. We were actually in global search. I'm going to go back there so that I can show you that here's where we were with the magnifying glass. And you can get very quickly back to that search by simply clicking on the magnifying glass again. But it took me, when I double clicked, it took me to the reference that I wanted to look at. So here we are. And you see that food and allergies is highlighted. So that gives you confidence that you're looking at the reference that you want to be looking at, where you want to be looking at it. Okay, I think I answered that one.
Yes. So when we did the copy paste function, there were a lot of subsequent questions that came up about, is it possible to copy and paste these 3 rubrics from the Word document back into an empty clipboard?
It is. I can show that. First, I'll need to open up a new clipboard, which I will do by clicking on this bottom icon of the clipboard. You can see that the message that pops up when you hover on that icon. Click to add a new clipboard. That's what I'm going to do. Clipboard number 2 opened. Now I'm going to go back to my Word document and I'm going to copy, excuse me, highlight and copy those rubrics. All right, and now I'll go back to my program. I'm going to open up the empty clipboard. I'm going to click into the empty part here of the clipboard. You have to click into that. And I'm going to hit paste. And again, the pasting is Command V or Control V. And there they are, and they're back.
Great. Somebody is asking that they have a problem to copy and paste all the rubrics together and not, they have to do it one by one.
Right. Well, you solve that by, if you hit Command A, that selects all of it. So I'll do it again. See here, we're in this clipboard. If you're on a Windows computer, you hit Control A. So I'm going to hit Command A, and they all highlighted. So hopefully that does work for you as well.
Somebody is asking, Lucy, how come you have so much space for clipboards?
I don't understand the question.
Well, I think that Amanda has asked the question. I think what she's asking is, how come you have so much empty space below the main clipboard icon to actually open more clipboards? And I have a feeling, Amanda, that it depends on how much you've zoomed into the program. So if your fonts, if you're really zoomed in, then all the icons become bigger and they end up taking much more room on
right.
the side toolbar.
Sometimes it helps if your program is kind of crunched in and zoomed. It can help if you go up to this main menu under View, and if you reset your zoom, sometimes that can help.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an issue of you've reset your, you've dragged the corner of your program up so that it's not full screen. There are several reasons that you might not be able to have as much room down here. I know too that there's going to be a lot more flexibility once the update comes.
Yeah.
In making the look of your, like, you'll be able to move the clipboards around more, and things like that once we update.
The other thing, Lucy, that we could show everyone is, even if it feels like there's no room, you're still able to open 20 clipboards.
Right.
And then you get a little, scroll bar to the right. Yeah,
Right.
so maybe you can show that, Lucy.
Okay, so I'm clicking on the clipboard. Right now you see 5 and 6. I'm clicking again. I'm clicking, but you can't see. But you can see there's this scroll bar here that appeared. And so if you click on the scroll bar, there you go. Whoops, my scroll bar is not cooperating with me in the moment. There. You can see the ones below. And so and you can actually, you can scroll with, just your mouse too. Once you see the scroll bar, you don't have to actually click and hold and drag the scroll. You can scroll using the trackpad. Do you see how I'm doing that? I'm actually just using my fingers on the trackpad to scroll down. All right.
Okay, so there's a question about the old search function, which I think I can just answer live, which is, the old search function where you could define the rubric size and the remedies and the families and say match at least 2 of these in a rubric and so on and so forth. That function is coming in the update, Susan. So we are hoping that that will be here by the late spring, and so you will have that functionality back in that version. This is a question about, and I'm not sure if we know the answer, Lucy, but we can, certainly find, how do I change the registration ID of a patient in patient management? I just started using the software and it automatically started the registration ID at 143.
I don't know that there's a way to control that. We can try. Yeah, you can see that my numbers are somewhat random as well. And there's no way to currently change the ID number.
Okay. Somebody's asking if they can copy and paste rubrics from Macreportry into the SHS clipboard.
No, can't do that.
Okay. You think the copy and paste function wouldn't work?
I don't think it would, but here, I'm trying to, let me see, get out of there. I've got to get out of this. I've got this Zoom thing right over what I need to X. There we go. Okay. All right. Do you want me to try, Roopali? I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, no, I think let's go into the other questions.
Yeah. I believe I've tried to do Macreportry to an SHS clipboard. I don't think it works. The codes are too different in the 2 programs.
So there are two questions here. How can I join 2 rubrics that are very similar into only 1 rubric? So basically combining rubrics.
Okay, yeah.
And then there is a question which to me sounds similar, which is, would you review merging rubrics, please? I think that's, I don't know if Peggy, could you clarify if you meant merging clipboards Or did you mean combining rubrics together into one rubric? But yeah, somebody has asked about combining rubrics.
I'm happy to show that. Let me throw just a few more rubrics onto this clipboard, just for fun, so I can maybe show it a few different ways. And of course, when you would merge rubrics, they would most likely be very, very similar rubrics. And what I'm doing, I'll put a couple of similar ones on there. Okay, here we go. So let's say you wanted to combine these two bottom rubrics, mind abusive and mind abuse ailments from. You would highlight both of them by holding down the command key. You're able to select more than one rubric on the clipboard. If you're on a Windows computer, you're holding down the control key. So once you've selected the rubrics, and you can select more than two, certainly. You might have a string of 3, 4, or 5 rubrics that you want to put together because they all represent the same idea. And so once you've selected your rubrics that you want to merge, you come up to this icon here that looks like a folder, and I hovered my mouse on it. You can see that it came up with the message, make group. So you click on that and you get this group pop up and you name it. And you hit OK. And now you've combined these two rubrics, and you can see how they show up on the clipboard. You've got the name of the merged rubric here. You can see the rubrics that are included in it if you wish. If you don't want to see the rubrics that are included, if you don't need to, you can click on that minus sign and it turns to a plus sign and you don't see all the rubrics within. I kind of like to see what's in there, so I keep it open. On the graph side of things, you only see the name of the merged rubric. So hopefully everybody saw that.
Somebody's asked if it's possible to shift the rubrics so that you can see the full rubric. So Lucy, could you show, we could make the left-hand pane in the clipboard bigger, and you could, yeah. So I think we can show what we can do, but definitely there will be more functionality available with the update where
right, you can do this, but you still, anyway, you can close out the clipboard and only see the graph, but currently you can only see the full rubric name, the full rubric on the clipboard side of things. With the update, you'll be able to see the rubric name in full on the graph.
But also how we are able to do in Macreportry, where you have the possibility to move how much of the space the clipboard, the rubrics take on the left-hand side of the graph, where you can move the graph back and forth. There's this sort of moving line.
Yeah, if you click, hold, and drag the gray line, you can certainly change your window around like that.
Okay.
But
no, but what I was trying to say is in the update, the moving line is actually going to come between the rubrics and the graphic portion of the graph right here, where the remedy counts are in the graph. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like in Macreportry?
Yes. So this is coming in the update.
Yeah. And in the interim, you can certainly, you can see your entire graph if you shift this scroll bar, the horizontal scroll bar.
The next question is, how do we erase clipboards?
All right, there's several ways you can do it. You can right click on this clipboard icon here. I'm going to right click now on a Mac. In order to right click, you hold down the control key. That gives you this pop-up menu, and I can choose which clipboards I want to delete. So let's say I want to delete all those ones that are empty currently. I can choose them all, and I can delete them. and then they're gone. Now, if you just have one clipboard that you want to delete, you can just hover on that particular clipboard, right click and delete it. So you can do that as well if you have just one you want to delete.
Okay. Somebody wants to know how to set a default repertory.
Currently, I'll show you how to do it. Roopali, I don't know if it's working on your version. It's not working on my version currently. But you go to user preferences, and this will work once we update. In fact, I think you'll have the ability once we update to select more than one default repertory and default reference library book. So this is where you would do it. And currently I have the reliable repertory selected, but you can choose any of your repertories.
Yeah.
And then you
This does work for mine, Lucy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe you need to show that, Roopali, because every time I select a repertory.
It's not possible to actually, I can show how to set it up, but you have to then close out the program. And then when you restart the program, your selected default repertory and default reference will be the one that will be at the top. And at the moment, we can only have that for one repertory and one reference. But with the after the update, you can have your top 5 repertories at the top and your top 5 references at the top when you open your program.
I think on some, maybe it's a computer thing. I have an older computer and this function isn't working for me currently, but it will definitely be working.
Okay.
I was able to select a current reference book default.
Okay. So yeah, so Peggy wanted to know combining rubrics, which you did. If rubrics are merged or combined, can you erase the ones that were merged so that the list does not become so long?
So if you're looking, you can, again, hide the rubrics within the merged rubric by clicking on this minus sign next to the combined rubric. And then that makes that, that closes that. So you're only looking at the name of the combined rubric. So that can certainly give you more room on your clipboard. I think that was the question. So.
Okay. So somebody wants to know how to make a qualitative combination of rubrics. And I think they're looking for elimination. So that is also something that is coming in the update. Philippe says that in his experience, it's not possible to copy rubrics from a Word document and paste them back into SHS, a newly opened SHS. And it only works right now because SHS has some memory of those rubrics being in that clipboard. I'm not sure, I have never tried this, to copy a pre-existing list of rubrics from a Word document and then go into my SHS, open it, and paste them there and see if it works.
Right, I'm gonna make a note to try that later.
We could try that and we'll get back to, yeah, we could definitely bring that back next month and see if you know, I mean, I guess other people could try it too and see if it works. Okay. If you come across a rubric that's relevant to a different case than the one you're currently working on, can you put it into a new clipboard and then apply and import that clipboard later to the relevant case? Maybe rename it?
You can. So I have new clipboards. Here, I'll open up. I'm going to just copy. Let's say that I decide, oh, I really want this rubric for a case I have from yesterday. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to copy it. open a new clipboard, and I'm going to put that rubric onto this clipboard. And then let's say I want to save this clipboard into that old, case. Then you can come up here and you can view your patients. And let's just open one just to show. And so here I am, and I'm going to save. Now, when you hit save, you get the clipboard pop up, and I'm going to choose clipboard 3. And so now you can see that today's date, this line here with the 26th of February, it did save to this particular chart. So you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Somebody wants to know if, how we used to be able to do it in Macreportry, press Command R in the repertory area to see the remedies, or the space bar. I think we can show that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So currently I have all my remedies turned off, which you can do here with this eye. You can choose to have the view of no remedies. However, then, and that's a nice view. It just allows you to see more rubrics at one time because there's not all the remedies in the way taking up room. But I'm going to hold my space bar, and now I can see all the remedies, and if I let it go, then they will disappear again.
Okay. After grouping rubrics, if you want to remove one of the grouped rubrics, how do you do that, or how do you ungroup rubrics?
Okay, so here we have this, and I'm going to open it back up again. You simply right click. So here I am. I'm going to right click on the name of the combined rubric, and you can ungroup here. And then you can regroup. Let's say you want to regroup. Then you just don't, you select whatever it is you want to regroup. Let's say that, let me go ahead and group it again. I'm actually going to put 3 things in because I just want to keep the group. Again, these wouldn't necessarily ever be put together, just doing it for the purpose of the training here. So let's say we have this group, and I want to edit, excuse me one second, and I'm just going to delete. Okay, I think what you do have to do is ungroup and then remove the rubric and then regroup, because I was looking to see if there was a way to, you can edit the group name, but that's not the same thing.
Right, no.
Okay.
And somebody's asking if we could show how you delete a single rubric if you change your mind.
You just highlight it, and you hit on a Mac computer, you hit Command Delete, or if you're on a Windows computer, you just have to highlight and hit delete.
Okay. How do you quickly find a remedy in the clipboard?
So you can turn on the view. You can certainly look at remedies however you'd like to do it, whether alphabetically or by grade on your clipboard. I always like to have the remedies turned off because it takes up so much room, but you can certainly look at remedies on the clipboard as well.
And then on the graph side too, you could type the name of the remedy in the type to search on the right. Yeah.
Right. So let's say that you're wondering, I'm just trying to think here, platinum is, I'm seeing platinum. No, it's right there. Chamomilla. Nope, it's right there. I'm just trying to see here. Lycinum. I see lycinum over here on the remedies. Let's say you were curious about that. So in my type to search, I'm just going to type LYSS and hit enter. And you see that it appears. And so you can see exactly, it appears at the end, if you see here. And so then you can see exactly which rubrics in your case that particular remedy appears in by searching for it. And to get back to where you were, you just X out of the type to search window and you're back where you were.
Somebody wants to see if you can demonstrate how to save a clipboard with a patient name and then open it later for further changes.
Okay. So let's go back to patient management. So do you want me to, I can start by, I can just open a fresh one, I guess. Open a fresh chart. All right, here we have this. I'm going to hit save. Let's say that all the clipboards we want to go there. A line was created with my clipboards. Now I'm going to close the chart. Do you want to close the clipboards? I'll say yes. Okay. So now you see the clipboards are gone. If you look over here on the left side, no more clipboards. They were closed with that patient. All right, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to reopen that particular patient. You open a chart by highlighting the line, clicking on it will highlight it, and you hit view. And now I go down to my history line from today. These icons here represent what was saved into your chart. We have the session, which if you click on this first icon, you can edit it. You can view it if you click here. This third icon is where your clipboards are saved. You can see the bottom blue line there where it says clipboard. That tells you if you never remember. Just going along this line even further, if you want to delete a line from your case, from your chart, you click on the little garbage can. This eye will just open up additional information. I believe if you have converted cases from the old programs and you click on this eye, that's where a lot of that information will be found. All right, so let's go back here to my clipboard icon. I'm going to double click it. And now you can see on the left side here, those clipboards have reappeared.
Okay. How can we open more repertories side by side?
Okay. All right, so we have to go back to the repertory module. Right now I'm in the reliable, and that's all you can see because I have all the chapters opened up. But I'm going to close that so I can see my entire list of repertories. To close that, I hit the minus sign next to the repertory name so that it collapsed the chapters. Let's say that I also want to open the complete 2018. You don't click on it you don't regular click, you simply right click. So again, on a Mac computer, you hold down the control key, you click on the name of the book that you want to open next to reliable, and you click open in a new tab. That message, open in a new tab, is a regular click. This is where people get a little bit confused. Let's try it again. So I want Alan's repertory to be on a third tab. I'm going to right click in order to make this message appear. Now my hands are off the keyboard. The message is there. I'm going to regular click on open in a new tab. So hopefully that explained.
Yep. So the space bar, they're asking, we could use the space bar in the clipboard as well to see the remedies. That is not currently possible, but yeah, will become possible. At the moment, you can only reveal the remedies in the repertory, but not in the clipboard. Mm-hmm. There is, yeah. Can you show how to back up your cases in the user preference?
Oh, sure. That's user preference. And again, you have to be on at least version 105 to do this. Mm-hmm. If you are still on an original program, I think it would be 1.0.0, you won't have this option. You have to have at least updated to version 1.0.5. It will give you this backup cases option, which you click on you click on Backup. And then if you have to install SHS, for instance, on a new computer, let's say you've gotten a new computer, you make sure you do this step. And then when you reopen SHS in your new computer, you will hit Restore and bring your cases back in.
Okay. So I'm not sure quite how to understand this question, but I'm struggling to create a tick sheet. I can find the remedies looking through the repertory, but haven't found out how to create a tick sheet. Can you show that? Do you know what that means, Lucy? Or Marlis, if you can explain by writing a different question what you mean by a tick sheet, then we would be happy to answer your question. Then there are several questions. I'm just saying this for Marcelo, who's translating simultaneously in Portuguese. Marcelo, there are several questions in Portuguese that Lucy and I wouldn't understand. So if you or Danielle could read those questions and write us questions back in English, then we would be happy to answer those questions as well. And then the next question is it possible, like in Macreportry, within the repertorization picture to compare 3 or 4 individually chosen remedies, only these 4 remedies? Is that possible, Lucy? Do you know?
Do you mean opening up, finding them and opening them up side by side? Or is this more having to do with, for instance, the concepts that are coming in the update?
Right. So I think that we can definitely show how it would be possible to compare 4 remedies side by side, but they would be the complete remedy picture. But if you were looking for the concept function, then that is definitely coming in the update, in the next update.
But in the reference library, you can certainly, for instance, if you're trying to decide if somebody needs, pulsatilla or clematis, for instance, those 2 remedies have come up strongly in your case, for instance, or 3 remedies, but I'll start with those 2. You can certainly compare side by side. So for instance, with pulsatilla, and you put it in the type to search and hit enter and it comes up, you see it's right here. Now let's say there's a certain book that you want to compare these remedies in. In order to see which books pulsatilla falls in, you simply have to click on the plus sign and it opens up all the books that have pulsatilla information. So let's say, for instance, you really like, I always go to Morrison's, I don't know why, but I mean, I do happen to like Morrison's quite a bit. In order to get to Morrison's book quickly, you see how the highlight currently is on pulsatilla? If you use your down arrow and get the highlight into the books, now you can use a shortcut on your keyboard, not a type to search window, on the keyboard. I'm simply going to type the letters MOR, and my program bounced immediately to Morrison's. Now I want the desktop guide. So I'm actually going to click on desktop guide. And here we are. Pulsatilla is here. Okay, so we've got that up. Now I'm going to go find clematis. And so I'm going to X out pulsatilla from the type to search window, simply by clicking on that X. And I'm going to find it, CLEM. There it is. I'm going to open up the books and move my cursor, move the highlight down into the book names. And again, type MORR on my keyboard. And then here it is. And I'm going to right click. Again, you want to right click. If you regular click, it will override the pulsatilla tab. I don't want it overriding the pulsatilla tab. I want it to go next to. So I'm going to right click, open this in a new tab. So now I've got both remedies, each in their own tab. And if I want to see them side by side, I go to this icon here I've hovered my mouse. You see it says compare tabs side by side. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on, this is going to be improved in the new program. Actually, currently the highlighted tab automatically opens as one of the side by sides. And so if you have the same book side by side, it's a little confusing, but you just have to click on one of them, hit OK. Okay, and so now you're looking at these two remedies in the same book side by side, and you can very easily compare them. I hope that was helpful.
Mm-hmm. So there are two questions. One question is they're wondering why we have two search functions. One is the search in the box at the top, and then the magnifying glass on the left-hand side as the icon. It would be good if you can show that it's the same search function. Yeah, go ahead.
Right, and so so you're talking about this icon as well as, okay, they are the same. So this clicking on this on the left side gets you to global search. And then once you're in global search, or actually you don't have to be in global search. Anytime you're anywhere in the program, let's put ourselves back in the repertory module. You can type to search, fear the dark. And then I wouldn't click over here to activate that search. I would click the icon over here or hit the return key on my keyboard, enter if you're on a Windows computer. Again, if you want to open a new tab, because remember we had that other search going, you hit the plus sign and that activates my search. Now you see we've gone from, we were in the repertory module, we've gone into global search. By activating that search, you use this icon or the plus sign to activate the search. These are search activators. And this icon down here represents, now you're in global search module.
Right.
It gives you all the information from your searches.
So another way to say it would be that your global search bar is always available wherever you are in the program, but the results actually you're only able to see when you hit the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. There's no difference. It's really the same module. It's just that your search window is available all the time and your search results are available when you hit the magnifying glass. So the tick sheet the user wrote back is a clipboard. They're calling it the tick sheet. And so the question then is, they can see the rubrics in the repertory, and how do they actually put them in a clipboard?
Sure, there's several ways. So let's go back to a clipboard because you want to, I'll open a fresh clipboard actually. Okay, so here we have clipboard 4. All right, now let's go to the repertory module. And just for the sake of teaching, I'm going to open up the chapters again and get out of the mind chapter where we've been hanging out all session. Let's go to the vision chapter, which you can very easily do by clicking on this chapter, you know, in the left pane. Here I am in the vision chapter. Let's say that we want, you know, amaurosis. Okay, so you highlight it and you simply hit the return key on your keyboard. If you're on Windows, again, you hit enter. And now you can see clipboard 4 has a little sub 1 on it. And that gives you confidence that the rubric went on there, but I'll go ahead and click clipboard 4 so that you can see that rubric did go on. Now, there are other ways to get a rubric onto a clipboard. Let's go to a different chapter. Let's go to the hearing chapter. Let's say that you want bursting on your clipboard. You can click, hold, and drag. You have to position your mouse right on the clipboard. You can see now there's a 2. So that's there on the clipboard now. I find it's easier just to highlight and hit the return key. In all the trainings I do, though, I find that some people really do like to click, hold, and drag. So you do have that as an option if that's what you like to do. Another way to get, I just want to show while we're talking about getting rubrics on the clipboards, is I want to go back to global search. If you have done a global search and you find a rubric that you like, let's say that you like this rubric here. You don't have to go back to repertory module to put that on your clipboard. If it's highlighted, you can hit return. And now you see on clipboard 4, that rubric that came out of global search is on your clipboard. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. Is there any way to have visible the number of rubrics that resulted in a determined search?
The number of rubrics that resulted.
Visible.
You mean you want a number? I mean, you can just see them here.
Yeah, and also I think in a reference works, yeah, I guess in a reference search, then it just shows the number of results at the top.
Oh.
And I'm not quite clear, Stylianos, what exactly the question is. So maybe if you could rewrite it. Did you mean in a clipboard or in a global search? Okay.
And so, for instance, I just want to point out for people, because I do have to show this to people quite frequently in trainings. When you've done a global search and you're in global search module, every single thing on the left side here is a result. So, reliable is coming up as a default, but let's say you wanted to know, from maybe you're a follower of Massimo's and you want to know what kind of rubrics he has about your search. And so you just click on the repertory name and you get information from his repertory as well. And you can add any one of these to the clipboard. Any rubric from any repertory can go onto your clipboard.
Somebody's asking, can you simply read a materia medica without first searching for a specific remedy?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
If you're in reference library, you have the option to be in books. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the split pane view, which I just do by unticking and hitting OK. All right, so I'm going to go to my books. And whichever book you want to be in. And again, to close chapters, you simply hit the minus sign, and then you can review all your books, whichever book you want to be reading. Maybe you want to read a journal. You just click on it, and you can start reading it from the top to the bottom. I hope I answered the question.
Mm-hmm. How can we move rubrics from one clipboard to another?
Okay. All right, so I'm in clipboard 4. Let's say that I want this one to go onto a different clipboard. I simply highlight by clicking on it. Okay, there's several ways you can do this. You can right click and copy the rubric. Let's do it that way first. I'll go over to clipboard 1. I'm actually going to get rid of the remedies, because again, there's taking up a lot of room. All right, so I click into the clipboard and I right click, and you can see paste, and you paste, and there it is. To me, it's easier to use the keyboard commands of Command or Control C, Command or Control V, and that works as well. So let's take this one, and I'm going to hit Command C. I'm going to go back to clipboard 4 and click into the clipboard and hit Command V. And there you go. To me, that's a little easier than right clicking, but it's your preference.
Okay. And then can we shuffle the order of rubrics in the clipboard?
Currently, it's not easy to do that. With the update, you'll be able to click, hold, and drag the rubrics as you could in the old programs, but currently you can't do that.
Somebody is asking, and I have not tried to have 3 cases open at the same time, but they're saying if you have 3 cases open, 3 patient cases open at the same time, and then it will only save to the first case saved, not the one you want, if it is the third one you have opened.
That may be true. That may be true. There are a few patient management issues that we have completely overhauled patient management actually for the update. So the workaround currently, I think, is to just open one patient chart at a time. I'll make a note to check on that too, but I think that might be true.
Can you copy, excuse me, can you copy part of a text from reference book and paste it into a case? So at the moment, we are not able to do that. Some authors who have works with us in the program were not agreeable to having that for copyright reasons. And so we were either, it was either possible to have it available for everyone or not at all. And so because not all of the authors agreed, we couldn't provide that functionality. But what we have done for the update is to make the fine tuning possible where the authors that do not want this done, it's possible for us to restrict that function just for those authors and those books and to allow that function for the remainder. So for the with the update, we will be able to copy and paste up to a certain number of words. I think we're going to keep the limits the same as they were in Macreportry and reference works. So 500 words, I think, or 50 words was the limit at a time for the authors that have allowed this to be possible. So that's a bit of a long drawn out answer for that question. The other question is, how do you attach a file to case notes on SHS?
Okay, so you go to your, let me go back to patient management. You click on this. Now, let's see. So you have to go into new session. And you would hit upload file. And that brings you to, your own information here. You pick whatever document you need to enter there. Let me pick one. And there you go.
Okay, very good. So this question has come back again. How do I change the repertory? And I have TBR2, but I'm not seeing how I can access it. So maybe we can show the type to search box as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So even when you have a book, your default repertory, which is, it always opens with the chapters open. Even if you have that open, you can find, you have to be in repertory module, of course. To find your TBR2, you just type TBR2, or you can just type the first 3 letters, hit enter, and then you quickly find it. If you want to open it in a new tab, again, you right click it. And now you have your TBR2 up here on the line as well.
Okay, is there any limit to the number of rubrics that can be put on a clipboard?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess it, Roopali, what are your thoughts on that? I don't believe there's any kind of limit.
No, I don't think so, because I remember when we were doing some testing work for the program, I remember having almost 250 rubrics on the clipboard one time in one testing scenario with the program that I currently have on my computer, and it was fine. I mean, it was just a testing scenario, but it still worked. It wasn't a real case, is what I mean. But I have seen as much as 250. I haven't done anything that would be more than that, but I can't imagine why
Right.
you would need more rubrics
Right.
than
And of
for
course,
even 250.
a scroll bar would appear and you would have to scroll.
Yeah.
I know with Macreportry, you can resize your clipboards, and you're going to be able to do a lot more resizing of clipboards once you get the update. But currently you would scroll and be able to see all your rubrics.
Right. Somebody is asking about how to update their version. And the best thing to do would be to put in a tech support ticket, and they could show you how to update, or they could do the update for you.
Yes, and in order to do that, you simply go to our website, which is, let me scoot this down. Does everybody know how to do that? Do you want me to show? You go to our website, which is synergyhomeopathic.com. Oops, let me refresh the page, sorry. Oh,
You were in Customize Your Software library.
there we go. All right, and so the support tab right here, you submit a ticket, you choose this first line here, and then you have to sign in to the website so that they can contact you, and you'll have a record about your ticket, whether or not it's open or closed and whatnot.
Okay. So next question is it possible to use cases made in Macreportry and open and edit them in SHS? Not right at the moment. We are working on this, and this will also be available with the next update. So the next question is, in the books feature, for example, in Dr. Shankran's Plant 3, when we open only Remedies, it's not seen like the actual book, which has plant sensation, derivation cases, etc. It's not like the actual book. Actually, it is. Lucy, can you just open Plants 3?
And I'll open it in a tab.
Yeah, just open it from there. Yeah.
So I don't have this book actually. So Roopali, if you have an actual book, maybe you can comment on. Now I will say that there's information at the bottom. And so maybe that's what you're missing. Any of the introductory stuff, you'll typically find it in About the Book at the bottom. So if you click that, perhaps that's the information that you're thinking that you're missing.
But also, I think when you're in Remedy, it's better if you are if you open the book from the book. But if you are in a Remedy, you can only scroll downwards, and you should have all the Remedy information and the cases that are there for that Remedy. You cannot, I believe, scroll upwards from the Remedy that you selected. You would have to click on the next Remedy up. So
right.
yeah.
So I just clicked on this Remedy here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can only scroll down from
downwards. Yes. So you can't scroll from Rosa Damascena upwards to, Rafania.
Right. You would have to actually scroll and, click
right.
that Remedy.
And if you want to read the whole book cover to cover, then you have to go to Sankran Plants 3 and read it from there.
Yes.
If you go into a Remedy, then it will only take you from that Remedy all the way down. So, okay, let's see.
And again, if you're interested in, information about the book itself, there's usually in most books a section about the book at the bottom that you can go to. And for instance, in Plants 3, you get all this information, you get some philosophy. So
yeah.
I highly recommend maybe we take a 5-minute break and then come back.
And then come back. Yeah, that sounds good.
And we can And then Rupali, you can,
Take over.
yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
read the questions. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we're ready to start. I'm going to share my screen, and Lucy and I are going to switch now. So
Okay.
I'm going to answer the questions, and Lucy, you're in charge of the Q&A in the chat box.
Okay, yes. One question to follow up from Mandy. She said, after the update, will we be able to scroll above a certain remedy to read, or is that something that, no?
No, unfortunately, a major part of how the software is structured at the moment means that we have to tell the software and what we're looking for. It's sort of like putting a pin on the board. And so when you click on something in the left pane, that sort of pins the database at that point. And so then when it's pinned at that point, you can only scroll downwards from there. And you can't really scroll upwards. And so it's better than, I feel it's better than ReferenceWorks, at least, where you could only see what you had asked for in terms of the query. Like if you go to Morrison's pulsatilla, and then within pulsatilla, you had to choose characteristics or mind or head or whatever. And you could then only see that little piece of it. You couldn't even see all the other sections in that book, in that remedy. And to me, that felt very constricting. But in this case, once you pin something, you only pin it at the top, at least, and then you can scroll downwards, even to the next remedy, but not to the previous one. And this would take a huge change in terms of how the logic of the software is. And we've kind of put it on the table because it came up even last year. It came up as early as last year when we had just launched. And I think it's something maybe longer term that we look at. But at the moment, even with the new update, this will not be possible. Sorry, that was a really long answer for a short question, but yeah.
Okay, and back to the reference library, somebody is asking, is there a way other than scrolling down to see the different sections in a book? So
Is there a way other than in the reference?
So I think
so actually, one thing before I answer that question, I want to show you. So this is actually how my program opens, because in user preferences, you can see that I have set my default repertory to the 2017 complete, and my default reference library references are set to the Soul of Remedies. And I just sort of did that. But, when I open my program, this is how it opens. So the 2017 appears as the number 2 reference. But it's the one where the chapters are opened up. And in references, Shankaran's Soul of Remedies is the book that's at the top. And so in the next update, your top 5 books can be at the top here, and your top 5 repertories can be at the top here. That's how it will work. So I wanted to show you that it works for me just for the one, but it will work for 5. Yes, so can we look at the chapters in a book without scrolling down?
Yes, to show the 3-letter shortcut again, open up a book and show that again.
Sure, yeah. So, the best way, because usually if you have a larger library, it's going to be and all of your materia medica, clinical cases, journals, everything is bunched up here alphabetically. So it's really, it's going to be a lot of scrolling to get to the book you want. And so this is going to be your best friend over here. And you can even just type like V, just one letter, and it will bring up, all of the books that are with V. And then let's say I'm looking for vermilion. So if I type that, I don't even have to I don't even have to hit return or enter. As soon as I type VER, it brings up all the vermilion books. And then let's say you're looking for all the chapters. The best way to look at the chapters is to just, click on the plus sign. And then once you're inside the book, let's say, you have to still remember what I said about pinning the book somewhere. So you have to pin the book inside the book, and then you can go in there and type, oops. Okay.
No, you have to do the 3 letters on the keyboard once you're in.
Oh, I see. And so then you can just do.
Like if you want to find, Veratrum album, you would just type, or whatever.
Yeah, so I typed PUL and it brings me to the first PUL remedy within that book. And so you can, quickly scroll to the remedy in the book that you want.
Okay, thanks. Speaking of the update, a lot of questions about how people will be informed of it, if they'll know, if we'll have a list of the improvements. Lots of questions about the update if you want to.
Yes, so we are hopefully by the end of this month, which is very soon, actually next week, we are hoping to start the first phase of testing of the update. And from there, then we will expand the testing to different phases and get more testers to be testing the update. So it's really almost ready to go into testing. We have been saying this over and over, and we want to keep saying it, which is that we don't have a fixed date for the launch yet, but we're hoping it will be soon, given that it's now going into testing, which means that the bulk of the work is done. And we're really now looking to test the functionality, all the new things that have been added, all the bugs that are currently there in the current version. So basically testing to see how well put together the update is. And from there, we will announce when we are ready to launch it. I hope everybody who's listening is signed up to receive our tech bulletins. You can opt in to receive whatever kind of communication you would like from us, but please make sure that you're signed in to receive the tech bulletins, because we will send a bulletin out letting everyone know, all Synergy customers, that the update is out. And that will also include instructions on how they individually can download the update on their own, and the option to still put in a tech support ticket to have somebody else do the update for you. If you feel like, I get this all the time when I'm talking to customers saying, I'm not really that technically savvy, and I don't know how to do this or how to figure this out. You always have the option to have a tech support ticket put in and somebody to do that update for you.
And if you got the reminder of this training, that means you are on our mailing list. You would get an update notification. So if you got the reminder of the training, you're good to go. If you didn't, please write to me at lucy@synergyhomeopathic.com, and I will send you a resubscribe link, because what probably happened is maybe at some point in time you unsubscribed from our list. And the other thing, Roopali, is somebody asked, how do they know which version they're on?
Yes. So, there's lots of little things that we couldn't get out in the beginning. Ideally, there would be an about here, and then you'd be able to see what version you are on. But at the moment, the way to find out what version you are on is when you click on SHS and you get that little spinning thing before the program actually opens. Right underneath that is your version number.
I think you can also go to help. Go to help on the menu there and go to about.
And yes, Actually, yeah. Thank you, Lucy. I knew there was an about somewhere. I should be. So mine is 1.0.7. And so yours, it should say what you have. And you should be able to update.
Right. And so we've had a few questions about Vital Quest.
There were a couple of questions that are in my mind that we didn't get to when you were showing and demonstrating the program. And one came all the way in the beginning, which is, how can you look for one quality or aspect or word within a remedy? And the example was, I think, anger in agaricus, for example, how to look at how many times anger comes up in agaricus or any remedy for that matter. And so I want to show you how to do that. I think the easiest way that I would do it, because my mind goes to like, how quickly can I get this answer? And so the way that I would do it, and I'm sure there's other ways, is I would type anger in the search. So I'm in the search over here, and I would type anger. And then I would go to the filter button here. And it depends on whether you're looking for rubrics or you're looking at references within the Materia Medica and cases. The search will find both for you, but you will have to limit in both places. So I would go to repertories first and I would hit remedy. And then I would type AGAR. And we are looking for agaricus. And so here's agaricus, and I would hit apply. The other thing, so this would put this here, but if you also wanted to look at the result in reference libraries, then you would go back and make sure you did the same thing. Say apply, and then I would hit the plus sign. So you can see this search is only looking for the word anger in the remedy agaricus. And you are going to get a repertory result as well as a reference library result. It searches all your repertories. So all of the repertories that I have, it's searched for rubrics containing the word anger. And then you can basically open the chapters up and see, so in all these chapters, there are rubrics with the word anger only in agaricus. And you can, if you click on them, you'll see all of the rubrics come up. You can also, if let's say that's the one you were looking for, you can also have that go into your clipboard. There's various ways to do it. You could either, just drag and drop it, and you see it appears in your clipboard. And then you could also look at your reference library result. And of course, for remedies, it's only one because we limited the search to agaricus, and there are 110 references. And you could then scroll down and look at, all of the different ways. Now you could even restrict this to one book, and then you would, go back into your filter function, and you can put as many filters on the search as you want. So right now I put 2 filters for the remedy agaricus, but one in repertories and one in references. You can also go back. So this, this closes the filter up, but you could go back and you could place any number of filters, single books, multiple books within a kingdom, specific remedy within a section, and the same thing for repertories. I hope that answers the question. There was also a question to explain the kingdom function in the program. Now that's a really broad question.
I've got a specific one, Roopali, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's do that.
Yeah. So with a repertorization graph, how do
Yeah.
I find all the remedies in a particular group or family? For example, Ranunculaceae, when pulsatilla comes up, or remedies in
Mhm.
iron series if
Sure.
Calicobonicum comes up.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to just get rid of that and clean my clipboard up. And then I'm going to put some random rubrics, let's say, so that we can do this question. Um, I've noticed how many times we just put abusive because
I
it's
know.
all of our clipboards have abusive and
I
adultery
know.
because they're just like the first few rubrics we find,
Right.
They
They have a good number of remedies within them.
do, they do. Here, let's put alcoholism
Okay.
in there as well. And amorous disposition. I think that's enough. Okay, so we have 5 rubrics here. And you're going to get your repertorization. But then let's say that you're interested in Staphylos agria and you're like, well, this belongs to Ranunculaceae. And so I wonder how many other remedies there are from Ranunculaceae, or even from subclass 1 if you're looking at the new subclass method. But so here you would go to the remedy that you're interested in and you would right click on it, which is control click in a Mac. And I have my Mac set up for a double tap instead of a right click. And in Windows, of course, it's a right click. And then you can do many things here. You can view the remedy in the reference library. You can view substance information. You can view the remedy on the web. You can even go to provings.info, and you really interested in this last one here, which says view remedies family. And then when you click on that, there are different ways in which Staphylos agria can be put in a family. It's not just the plant family. So you've got Cronquist plants, you've got Dahlgren, you've got APG, APG4. Then Staphylos agria also has a miasm quality. So there's many different ways that it can go into different families. It's so Mikal Yakir is here. So it depends. I think I'm hoping that some of this list, I haven't had a discussion with the development team, but I'm hoping some of this will get somewhat rationalized. I feel like the list is really long, but I usually tend to either go to Cronquist or Plants Overview. You have Magnolidae as the subclass, or the order, or the family. So let's say that you choose Ranunculaceae and you want to see what other Ranunculaceae remedies are in there. You would just click on Ranunculaceae, and then it would limit that repertorization to all of the other remedies that are in that family. So Pulsatilla aconite, Ranunculus verbosus, Simicifuga. So anyway, but you could do, and then if you wanted to see the original repertorization again, you just get rid of the filter and you're back in here. You could do that at any level of the grouping like I showed you. So if we go back in here, you could do that for the order. You could do that for the subclass, depending on how you're practicing and what kind of information you're looking for. But like, for example, if I chose the subclass, then you would get a lot more because, there's more orders in there and more families. But these are all remedies from subclass 1. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. I've got a quick question for you. Somebody's wondering about how to access Andre Sain's Mmpp group additions in this program.
Group additions?
Yes, I mean, so it's part of the reliable. So just maybe explain.
Yes. Okay. So Andre Sen's group, the Materia Medica Pura project, is doing a lot of work, and they have been producing editions. They started producing editions to the complete 4.5, which is no longer available for sale. But the reliable repertory was started with the same intention as the Materia Medica Pure project did for the 4.5. And what has happened in the last couple of years is that we have contracted with Andre Sen's group, and all of the additions that they are doing are now going to be incorporated into the reliable repertory. So we have, it's not, the additions won't appear in the program automatically all the time. They're not being updated. They're being updated in the back, but they will be released either once or twice a year to anybody who has the reliable. And so that will be the best way to access the additions from the Andre Sen group. The other thing that they have been doing, and I want to put a small plug in there, is they had released a sample of work that they had been doing, which was their monographs, the remedy monographs and the remedy summaries. So those of you that had Macreportry reference works, they would have seen that sample, which is no longer available in SHS, but we will be releasing actually the full work with the update. There are several new publications coming with the update, and one of them is the Materia Medica Pure project remedy monographs, which is a bundle of 35 monographs, and also the group remedy summaries, which is 190 remedies, and the genius of the remedy, anywhere from a paragraph to 3 pages for the largest remedies. But that's just the genius of the remedy. And those are 2 separate publications. So those will be available soon. When the update comes, I think that's when we launch all the new books as well.
Yes, if you're on our mailing list, you should be getting a mailing about that very, very soon today, actually. It'll give you some more details about that. Also, somebody had written a question about the copy and paste feature related to VitalQuest, and I just wanted to repeat something we've said, that the VitalQuest program is being enhanced in the update, and people will be able to copy and paste entire Word text from Word documents into the text approach once we have the update.
Right. So the text approach is up here at the moment, but we're basically almost putting all of the VitalQuest program back into SHS. And so what will happen is here, where you have VitalQuest and it says VQ notes, underneath that, it will say text approach. And then when you go into text approach, it's going to be almost the same, where you can copy and paste your entire case from your Word document or wherever you have it, and be able to analyze the whole case the way that you could in VitalQuest previously.
And I think the links are going to be clickable and information.
Yes. And, a lot of the remedies within their groups, like, for example, all of the calcarea remedies, not just calc, but like calc phos and calc brome and all of the others, that I think material was missing from VQ notes. And so that all of that is being put back in as well. And that will be available.
Yes. And somebody is asking, is it better just to update the reliable repertory then instead of complete? Yes, we can certainly plug the reliable repertory, which we think is a wonderful repertory. It has taken out a lot of perhaps, unreliable or unproven source materials. So I think it's a very good book. It will be updated. I think Roopali said
once or twice. Yes, I think at most twice, but maybe once a year. And I think it depends. I think it depends on what you're comfortable with. There are 2 different repertories, and sometimes. And you can see that I have both. I have reliable, and then I've been working with the complete for a while, since I was a student, obviously, of homeopathy. And so, sometimes you're looking for particular rubrics, and they are not available in one repertory or more available in the other. And the other thing which I think is really useful is the fact that you have multiple repertories and each repertory has its own quality. And there are some rubrics that are really well represented in repertories that we don't use normally. And I think it's great that the search function searches all your repertories and allows you, I mean, I honestly, before I had this ability to search multiple repertories simultaneously, I did not know some of my other repertories well. And now I know when I'm like, you know, I mean, when I'm looking for OCD, for example, I know that there are some repertories that do a better job of rubricizing OCD than others. And so I use those. And so I think you're just trying to get the best representation of your case. And sometimes some repertories are better at doing that than others.
Right. There's also a question, we're constantly working with authors to get new contracts, to add new material to our program.
Right.
I don't know if there's any update on Murphy's getting his new book.
So we have been trying. We have been trying to get in touch with certain authors to get their updated materials. And I guess everybody's busy and sometimes we don't get responses. So I have tried to reach out to Dr. Murphy a few times, and he did write back once, but then I haven't had any communication recently. So I'm gonna try and figure out if any of you know a way to reach him, then let him know that we are trying to reach him. I'll just try and find other ways and keep trying. So.
Right. The good news is that with the update, we are going to have Vermeulen's Plants reference, 4-volume reference book.
Right.
The ability to add that to your program. I believe Massimo.
There are several, yeah, there's several new works, some which are almost ready, some where the contract is done, that are coming. Vermeulen is one of them. Jan Scholten has adding a book, not his plants book, but another one. We hope to have a lot of French works coming in. There is a new book coming in about the remedies of energy and the universe, a larger collection, a larger grouping than was earlier known as imponderables. Now it's a big grouping than that. I'm thinking through what else we have.
A related question, just someone's wondering if we have a vet repertory. And
We do.
Yeah.
We do. So here, New World Veterinarian Repertory, which is Wendy Jensen and Richard Pitcairn's repertory. This is the one that I know of. I mean, I'm not a veterinary homeopath, but I know of this one, and I know that we also have a veterinarian library, which is specifically for vets, and I think that probably has a lot more references and repertories in it specific to veterinarian work.
Now, somebody asked the question, Van Zandvoort did not come across to SHS, but he did actually.
Yes, he did.
Still have complete.
Yes, I'll show what the difference is.
But yeah, and also in the reversed, it isn't showing up like that, but you can still get there.
No, so yeah, so Van Zandvoort is how it was labeled in reference works, yeah. But now if you own any of the completes, and then you automatically get the reversed repertory for that complete, and the way that it shows up in the references section here is by the name of the complete and then reverse repertory.
And currently the 2020 version, we don't have the reversed version yet, but that is coming.
Yeah.
That is coming in the program. That will be in the program as well.
Yeah.
Somebody asked a question, please remind me how to hide the remedies of the rubrics.
Yes, of course. So that are here, you know, in the, let me make my program smaller or move this up to the top. Oh, there. Okay, so when you open your repertorization function and you're in your repertories, on the right is this little eye. And when you click on it, you have all of the options, view options for the repertory. So I'm usually set to no remedies, no subrubrics, no authors, no cross-references, but I do have my remedy count displayed. If you want to see your remedies, then you can choose whether you want alphabetical or by grade. And if you do alphabetical and then you click OK, your remedies will come up. In the mind section, years, it's there. And if you don't want that, I find usually having all the remedies displayed, it takes up a lot of the screen, so you don't see as many rubrics on the left-hand side. And then, you know, it might make your program a tad slower because it has to load that much more data for each screen. And so that's why I prefer to have this. I mean, I largely prefer to have this set to no remedies because then I can see so many more rubrics. And, you know, scrolling is easier, all of that. I hope that.
It did. Going back to the books, somebody asked any chance of Mikhail Yakir's book coming. It is in the program. You can purchase it.
Actually, I think they're probably referring to Wondrous Plants. So what we have, what we have in here is the botanical repertory. Let me try. Yeah, so we have Mikhail Yakir's botanical repertory, but she's not yet ready to have Wondrous Plants be in the program yet. I also know that usually when you've published a book in paper, the publisher has certain criteria or a number of years before you can digitally publish the book. So, you know, they're gonna say not until 5 years of paper, and so that's also possible. That a lot of these new books don't immediately appear depending on whatever the terms of the author's contract are with their paper publishers.
Okay, good. And somebody is asking, how do I get the New World Vet Rep? It's not currently in my program. How do I access that?
You would, depending on where you are in the world, you would get in touch with the dealer, the local dealer, and let them know that you wanted to place this order. This is a book that is only available actually in the veterinarian program or as a separate purchase. So you would have to place an order for it, and then you know, you would get details on how you can add it once you buy the book. If you're in the US, then you could write to us and we can connect you with the sales rep in the US.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Let me just look real fast. Roopali, did you get a text? I thought I texted you one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
check that.
Yeah.
Somebody's wondering if they can delete books from their library. That's
yes, they can. I think what you do here is you go to user and you go to, I'm assuming they're asking about anyway, so you can delete repertory. You can delete the repertories that you don't use. You can do that. It doesn't mean it's forever. It would just delete it from the program. But then if you change your mind, you could always go back and add the repertory back in system. And I suspect that you could probably do, you can't do that yet. I think in the references, I can find out whether this will be possible with the update or not. But for repertories, you can certainly delete the repertories you don't use and then add them back later if you change your mind.
Okay. Somebody's saying, can you please show me how to search more words like in the reference works?
Yeah.
I guess they're wanting a refresher on how to use our new program to do some more complex searches, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that there was also a Q&A from somebody who had who said they aren't able to put a search together, and they had, you know, different parameters that they wanted in the search, but that was a really, really, really complex search that they were looking at. Actually, if you want to, I think there were some modalities in there, and then there were some other symptoms in there. If I'll try and find that question at the end of the training, and then maybe just we can connect individually. That was a really complex search, and it would probably be 5 different searches put into one clipboard rather than all those 5 elements being in the same search. I don't know, we can certainly try. But I find the global search is really, really useful. You can do lots of different kinds of searches, including complex searches. You have to be careful if you're looking for a rubric. Is what you're looking for at the end is a rubric result? You want a rubric, or do you want a reference works result? And depending on that, you can design your search. So, you know, like for example, when we did the earlier search about anger within a remedy, that you could get both. You could get a repertory result and a reference result. But like another very simple search that we show all the time is fear. And what I did was I wrote fear, then I wrote the number 4 from my clipboard and dark. So this means this will find for you any rubrics or references that have fear within 4 words of dark. So basically a fear about dark. And we put 4 in there because, you know, that there might be different ways that it's written in reference works or even in rubrics sometimes. So it gives you sort of a maximum flexibility. And then when you click that, you get your results. And you can see here, again, you get a repertory result and all the rubrics that are about the fear of dark, not just the fear of dark, but also other related rubrics that you can see. And then again, in the reference library, you can get, you see there are 279 remedies with, you know, almost 2,000 references about the fear of dark. But this is just like, this is, for me, this would be one symptom. What you can do this, now you could do this multiple times and you can combine them all together to actually sort of do a mini clipboard as one search. So let's say your patient has fear of dark, and they're also constipated, constipation, and then in the same remedy as anxiety within forwards of sadness. You could do a complex, you could build a complex search depending on the case. I'm trying to make up a case, and so it's kind of more difficult. But if you actually think of a real case, then, you know, I don't like anxiety. Let's say anxiety within 3 words of, and so I'm just, so the remedy or the parameters here are, I'm using my space bar to choose what I want in the same sentence, in the same paragraph, in the same section, or in the same remedy. So anxiety within 3 words of morning. And so now we have, basically we have, 3 symptoms here: fear of dark, constipation, and anxiety in the morning. Then now you would not get a single rubric that would encompass all those parameters. So this is really just a reference work search. But if you just hit it like this, you're going to still get a repertory result and a reference library result. But in your repertory result, it's going to say repertory result not found because it's a very complex search query. But then when you go to reference library, there are actually 68 remedies that have those parameters. And you could make that, more complex or less complex. Let's see. In the same remedy as ameliorated within 2 words of bathing, let's say, right? And then I hit the plus sign because I want to save my old search. And if I do the plus sign, then it displays the new search as another tab. And so you've still got your old tab with your reference library result. And now in the new search, you can see because I added another parameter, the result has gone down to 45 remedies. If I go back here and I look at my reference library result, I had 68 remedies. So depending on how sharp you make this search, sometimes if it's very specific things that have come up on your case, you could end up with like 6 remedies. And those are, 6 remedies that have these key features. The other thing about looking in reference works for this kind of a search is that you will be using your, patient's words, and you will be searching clinical information, provings, materia medica, and all of those references are usually references where you have the patient's words. In the repertories, we have taken the patient's words and converted them into homeopathic language, so to speak. So I really like searching in reference works or in our references.
Can you explain the keyboard shortcuts, how you got remedy, why you're using within 4 words? And I know we're out of time. I think we're going to have to let this be the last explanation.
Okay, so I'm going to X out of here. So there are, it's like the Boolean search parameters. You can search for words within proximity of other words. You can also search for words and phrases, search phrases that you've built up within a sentence or a paragraph or a section or in the whole remedy. So the way to find those, I think, so here are your search terms. You can find them in this icon next to within 2 words, within 3 words, 4 words, 5 words, in the same sentence, same paragraph, section, remedy. The shortcut to this icon or using these connectors from here is to use the 2, 3, 4, and 5 from your keyboard. And then the shortcut for these connectors, sentence, paragraph, section, and remedy, is your space bar. If you hit the space bar, so let's go here. And then I could just type the letter 2 to get 2 words with the next word. Or if I wanted to use sentence, paragraph, etc., then I would use the space bar. If you hit the space bar once, you're going to get a space. And then if you hit the space bar a second time, you get within the same sentence, fear within the same sentence as dark. Or you could hit the space bar a second time and that changes to paragraph. And then I could say fear in the same paragraph as anxiety, for example. If you hit the space bar a third time, it will change to section. So fear in the same section as, I don't know, rash, for example. So you're looking for those 2 words to occur in the same section together. And then if you hit it a 4th time, it changes to remedy. And so you wouldn't really put that. You wouldn't put fear in the same remedy because every remedy out there has fear. So it's not a very sharp sort of search term, but I'm just trying to show you. So if you press the space bar a fourth time, it goes to remedy. And then if you press it for a fifth time, it cycles back to sentence. So those are the shortcuts, your keyboard shortcuts to do that. Is that clear, or would you like me to explain another search term? Or the other cool thing about these is, like, for example, like we did earlier, combining, like, let's say fear of dark, and then you can limit it. Let's say you don't want fear of dark in everything. Maybe you're only looking for an animal remedy or a plant remedy, or so you could filter your search. After you define or design your search, then you could decide, I only want a remedy that's in this group, or I only want this search to be in all, in the Vermeulen books, or only in Source and Substance, or only in the TBR2, or only in the vet repertory. You could put filters on your search to make your search even sharper and more pointed, so that the result that you get is really, this handful of remedies that fits your search term, that's only in this area of the materia medica. And then you can look at the 5 remedies and say, I think this fits my patient. So this is a really powerful search engine to help you understand your case and analyze your case better.
Thanks so much to everyone. I hope this is a very helpful session, and we have maybe some more questions here and there, but write to us, Roopali or Lucy at synergyhomeopathic.com. You can write to either one of us if we did not get to your question, and we'll be happy to answer it by email personally.
Good. So I think we're concluding the session for today. There was some questions around when the training will be next, and we do send out reminders for the training. In general, we had decided that it would be on the last Friday of every month at this time. So there's a certain predictability and people can plan ahead of time. But if you don't want to wait until the next session, then please write to us directly, either me or Lucy or both of us, and we'll be happy to help you with your query. Thank you for attending, and this concludes our session for today.